Hi, you're probably watching this video or come to this page because you failed the Texas bar exam or someone you care about has failed the Texas bar exam. And so let me begin by saying that I'm really deeply sorry for you and disappointed. I know that you don't want people to feel sorry for you. That's why you're here looking for what to do next. But I do want you to understand that failing the bar exam is not the end of the world. It's not the worst thing that happened, although it's probably one of the worst that certainly at this moment feels that way. But there are things that can be done, and that's what I want to talk about in this video. My name is Jackson Mumey. I own Celebration Bar Review, and for the better part of 20 years I've been teaching Texas bar exam successfully with a pass rate that has always exceeded the state rate, and typically most exams runs between 80 and 90% pass rate for the students that we work with, many of whom took and failed the Texas bar either on their own or with another bar review provider. So I am confident that it's possible to pass this exam regardless of your circumstances. One of the things that I think is important to understand is that the fact that you're on this page watching this video right now, it says a lot about who you are. It is very easy when results come out to become incredibly discouraged, and obviously some people give up, and as you know in Texas there's the 5 strikes rule, and so you may be coming close to your 5th try on the exam. That's not uncommon either. But the fact that you're willing to think about what to do going forward says a lot about your personality and about your determination and your willingness to move forward. And so in this video I want to talk about some concrete next steps that you can take to make sure that you pass the next time in Texas. One of the first things that I think is valuable is to have an objective set of eyes looking at you and your scores and how you're preparing for the exam. And so one of the things that we'll do, and you'll see it on this page, is that we invite you to set up and schedule a free, no obligation consultation with me to go over your scores and your study approach. I found over the years that the opportunity to have someone who's objective looking at the scores and the approach can be very, very helpful. I've also found an awful lot of people, even people that have taken the exam more than once, don't really understand the scoring in Texas and put a disproportionate weight, for example, on the Texas P&E or on the MPTs. And I think it's important to get a sense of where the time should be invested in your study, what the scores mean and how they should be interpreted, and where to look and what to do with them. So I invite you to certainly schedule, it's free, as I say, no obligation, a consultation to talk about the scores. Let me give you at least some insight into that. And that's the first thing I think you ought to do, is get someone else to look at the scores along with you. The second thing that I would suggest for most people is that you get right back to study. Texas releases results typically within about a 90-day window of the next bar exam, which means that you have enough time to study, provided that you're able to put in about 30, maybe as much as 40 hours a week of study between now and the test date. Now, that's going to sound like an awful lot, and if you're working and studying, you may want to consider sitting out an exam, giving yourself a little more time to study, but that would only be helpful if you actually began your studies now. So either way, I think it's important that you get back in and start studying. If this was your first time taking the Texas bar and you failed, one of the real hard things to do is emotionally sort of pick yourself up and get back into the process. And the sooner you begin that studying, there's the real benefit of getting enough study time, but there's also the benefit of just emotionally having something to focus on instead of what happened in the past. Now you're looking forward to the future. So I would encourage all of you watching this video to start your studies, even if you're not taking the very next bar exam, but to begin that process and begin working towards something that's a little bit more positive. The third thing that I would suggest if you fail the exam is that you consider changing what you're doing. You know, the classic definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And one of the things that I see, unfortunately, in Texas would be people who just keep going at the same approach over and over again. If you took one of what I call the big box bar reviews, the companies that do a 6-week cram course in a classroom, and you did not pass, you should seriously consider changing courses. Not because those are bad courses, they're not, but their sweet spot, their focus is definitely not on a repeat bar taker. you're simply not going to get the attention or the precision that you need to resolve your particular problems. Likewise, if you're doing kind of a Barbary knockoff course, that's just a cheap, inexpensive course, I think you're going to find in a retake position that that's not very helpful to you. You don't really want somebody who moonlights teaching the bar, or maybe passed the bar sometime in the past and doesn't know really much about the exam, but needs to earn some money while they're waiting to get a real law job. That person's not going to be very helpful to you in a retake situation. And so I would be very, very cautious about taking those types of courses if you're retaking the bar exam. Now, obviously, I think a course like Celebration Bar Review is ideal because we focus primarily on students who are repeat bar takers. It wasn't our initial approach or initial thought, but over the years, that's really become the niche that we've moved into, and with a great deal of success. And for that reason, one of the things that we've developed is the ability to work on particular problem areas, which for most students will be the essay writing and or the multi-state exam. And we have a number of tools designed to help you with that. We've got what we call the Successful Test Application Resources, or STAR package. And the STAR package is designed to give you additional work and help with reading comprehension, with test anxiety, with neuro-linguistic programming to actually help you get through some of the test blocks that you might have. That's an incredibly successful program that I would invite you to look at. We also do a lot of work with foreign trained attorneys, and if you are a foreign attorney taking the Texas bar, we've got a tremendous amount of experience and background in working with you on these exams, and I think that's also helpful. But for everyone, one of the most important things that I think we offer is the ability to look at and work and focus on your writing. In our personal and premium mentored courses, one of the things you'd be doing is sending work to me directly, and then we'd be conferencing one-on-one about that work. And I find that that's incredibly useful to start to fix whatever's wrong with your writing for the purposes of the bar exam. Trying to figure that out on your own or just doing what you did before is not likely to give you the kind of results that you're looking for or that you need. And so I would encourage you to look at a course like ours. If you want more information, you can find it on our website, and be glad to talk with you about it. I think you'll be surprised at how inexpensive the course is relative to the services that you're getting. But having said that, I will also say that if you took a big box bar review and you failed, you probably can retake with them for relatively little money. The problem is what it costs you to fail the bar exam again, and statistically, you're now in a danger zone. When you add to that the fact that you can only take the exam 5 times, you don't want to waste any of your tries, if you will, just doing the same thing over again. So as difficult as it might be to consider changing, I think this is the time when you really want to consider that pretty actively. What we'll do in a course like ours is to work with you on your Texas bar essays on all the subjects that are testable. We'll work with you on the multi-state. We have over 1,800 licensed National Conference of Bar Examiner questions, along with answer explanations, so there's plenty of practice and plenty of work. And we'll work with you on the Texas Procedure and Evidence, the P&E, and on the multi-state performance test. Now, what makes our course different beyond the personal mentoring is just that rather than trying to have you memorize, and if you tried to memorize on the last exam, you saw how frustrating and how difficult that was, and ultimately how fruitless it is. Instead of memorizing, what we're going to do is help you learn the material through a process called stepped repetition. Stepped repetition is a learning style in which we give you small pieces of information in sort of bite-sized chunks. We have you read, then we activate that material with a lecture, then we have you do practice questions, then we come back to that material again a little bit later, and then again still later, and again still later. So that the idea is like a stair-stepping, you're going up each time, and backtracking, and then going up, and backtracking, and going up a little bit. The course includes a study guide so that you'll have an order of assignments and how long each assignment should take. And I think you'll find that it's perfectly manageable. But what really makes the course work is that you're not trying to memorize and stuff information into your brain. And I think that's really important to keep in mind, that if you try to cram, if you try to memorize, you're already at a disadvantage. Now, I know that there are lots of people out there that memorize and cram and they pass. The problem is that they confuse cause and effect with correlation. That is to say, they think that because they memorized and crammed, that was the cause of the result of passing. It actually was just a correlative effect. They would have passed most of those folks anyway, but the memorization was there. What we found over the years is that with our approach of step repetition, there really is a cause and effect. We can measure it, we can follow it, we can empirically document it, and we see a much higher pass rate because of it. So I would encourage you to think about and look at that as a possibility and a different way to study. Look, it's very discouraging right now. And the fact that you have been through this and gotten your results, probably the first time you've ever failed a major test in your life, can really be devastating. And I empathize with you, and I feel badly for you that you're in that situation. But you don't need to give up hope. You don't need to believe that you can never pass the exam. I get the opportunity, and it is an opportunity, every single test, exam administration in Texas, to work with people who had failed multiple times before, people who weren't even close to passing, people who had all sorts of challenges. And every exam, we have people who pass the exam in spite of all those difficulties. So we know it can be done, and we're confident that we can do that for you as well. I encourage you to hang in there, to do your due diligence in your research. Check us out. Talk to me, take advantage of our free consultation. Let me give you some insights, at least from our perspective, about the exam and about what you need to be doing to improve your scores, and then move forward with a real positive expectancy for the next bar exam and the confidence that you can pass. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to having the chance to work with you and to seeing you be part of your own personal celebration when the next results come out.